I love that sound. The records are now open. Welcome, everybody. Come on in to Akashic Answers with Emily. If you've been here before, then you know the drill when you get here. I would love you to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And of course, if you are a newbie, let me know that too. I want to make sure that you feel very welcome inside of this space because your intuition has brought you here. That goes for every single one of you. I want to just open up my heart and welcome you into this space because this is where conscious visionaries and thought leaders are coming to gain access to what's known as the Akashic Records or the Akash, the realm of consciousness, where we can tap all information in the universe. And of course, for those of you who are here and you have a big mission on your heart, you have something big to do here on the planet, you know that once we can tap into the field where information becomes readily available, we begin to unravel and reverse engineer advanced levels of technology, new forms of medicine. That's right, Phyllis. Hello, Phyllis from New Brunswick, Canada. Karith, I see you too. Greetings, you're South Africa. I know this. So say hello once you get here and let us know where you're tuning in from. What we do in this space is we begin to cultivate our connection. Every single person has an innate connection to this field of infinite intelligence. And as I was sharing before I started giving shouts out to all of you who are joining, which I'm happy to see you coming in, I was talking about the benefits of tapping this space, which we know we can tap that expanded creativity. We can go right into understanding our own areas of incongruence. We all have still shadow aspects of our energy of our own patterns, of our experience, things that have felt not comfortable to feel, or I should say in modern day society, we don't necessarily have the tools, we haven't cultivated the tools that one, allow us to fully express our emotions, to understand them. So we hide them, we tuck them away. And what this ends up doing is causing us to miscreate with our energy. So we're at a time and space in our conscious evolution where we are learning to untangle our miscreations by understanding ourselves on the quantum field and to learn to create mindfully. We know that we have these amazing spiritual technologies like the Akashic Records that allow us to have access to soul level wisdom instantaneously, not from the perspective that we've experienced our life. And when we tap into this space and we begin to honor the unseen energies that are present here, which of course we know that our human senses, our five senses, we have many more than that. But the five that we're all used to using only allow us to detect 0.003% of our surroundings. So only 0.003% of your surroundings can you get a handle on with your five senses. And I shouldn't really even say get a handle on them because truthfully, that is not enough information to give you an accurate informance of what's happening. This is what's known as our consciousness expanding. What is consciousness? Consciousness is how we understand ourselves and how we perceive and observe and understand ourselves in relation to the world around us. As humans, we've chosen to incarnate here in this experience purposefully to experience ourselves as creators, but the design of this construct of this planet is that we do it by experiencing ourselves through separateness. So when I talk about consciousness expanding and knowing ourselves in relationship to everything around us, it basically comes down to the fact that we've been born into a way more than half blind experience where we are invited to wake up to the truth of who we are. It's challenging for many of us because we learn through polarity, right? But we're learning to expand our consciousness and to see ourselves differently in relationship to the world around us. So what that means for many of us is we have to go from seeing ourselves as separate from the world around us to completely connected in a space of unity. And this requires us to develop our subtle energy body, our subtle skills. because all of your physical senses have been trained to define you as separate from the world around you. So what we do here is we begin to use the natural facilities of our body, our breath, to tap the part of ourselves that knows how to untangle ourselves from the matrix or an incomplete construct, and to move us back into a state of unity where we can observe ourselves in a different manner. And as we begin doing this, we begin to illuminate from the inside out differently. Your cells actually begin to light up. All of this cosmic light that we're taking in. And no one is separate from it. No one can get away from it because you're all here on planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? And this awakening really has to do with a galactic alignment that the earliest of our civilizations, including the Mayans, those are the ones I'm specifically referring to, but many civilizations who understood time and progression through the universe, astrology, how all of these pieces fit together, they knew based on the precession of equinoxi, that at this point in time we were entering what's known as the age of Aquarius, where our solar system is aligning to galactic center, and we're being bombarded with photons of light, which if you break everything down to an energetic level, sound is a particular vibrational frequency that stores and transfers information. We're doing it with language right now. I'm shooting you with a little extra transmission too. Can you feel it? It's not just my words. But light also carries information. In essence, you could look at the Akashic Records as like a light imprint, a light library, a library of light. The Akashic Records hold every detail of our past, our present, all possible futures from a soul level perspective, a God perspective, a perspective of universal intelligence. And we're moving into the age of enlightening and awakenment. I might have made that word up. Making words up is one of my favorite things to do. Too bad there's not an age of Gemini. So in this aspect of our evolutionary history where we are aligning to galactic center, everyone is being bombarded by these photons of light, which are waking up your DNA. So the dormant strands of DNA that the human collective has experienced for the most part as dormant. Now, of course, we've had amazing avatars that have showed up over our history, those we would even consider ascended masters, who have held more of their DNA illuminated and intact. But for the most part, the collectives have been suppressed. Like our DNA has been shut down. We have been imprisoned to being brainwashed, to not being able to understand the full truth of what's going on around us. But now that our consciousness is expanding and this innate intelligence is returning, in essence, the aspects of our DNA that hold our Akashic Records are illuminating, we have access to this soul level understanding. Now, in order to get full access, we must go through soul cleansing. We've got to go through our own karmic purification process, which really comes down to, honestly, self-love. There are so many different aspects of where we've disowned ourselves along the way because it hasn't fit into what the collective paradigm says is acceptable. And all of us have that. But as we begin to create this kind of a space together where we can build the skills that allow our intuition to come back, that allow our subtle energy body to turn back on, we can begin to detect more of the truth around us. And I'm so excited to share that with you all today. So if you are new here, you're cutting in and out, I have to watch you on the replay. Phyllis mentioned a little tech difficulty. Is anybody else noticing a cut in and out? I find that highly annoying. So if anybody else is noticing a cut in and out, let me know. Haley Robinson, hey girl, hey. I don't know, hey girl, hey. That little my sorority girl came out there. That doesn't happen very often. Yes, cutting in and out, or yes, it feels strong. I also see Shell Baby, my cousin, on the broadcast. I love you, Shell. I try to always give you shouts out when I see you. Kathia, I see you too. Tanya Ferris. One more person. Give me a little feedback on the quality of the video. Because if it's doo-doo, a little not bad. Okay. Yes, cutting in and out. All right. Okay, I don't love that. So nice Phoenix tattoo. Thank you, Teddy. I did see your comments about doing readings. I don't like to do the readings for you guys. I like to hold the space so that you can get the information yourself. It's truly, I mean, these are your soul records. It's more important what you experience anyway. So my area of expertise is cultivating the frequency for you, holding that space so that you can tap in, and teaching you how to access or how to ask the right questions that reveal the right information. So since we're cutting in and out, this is what we're going to do. If you guys have questions, go ahead and type in the questions. I will stick around and answer those. I believe that if you watch on the replay, I believe that it's smooth and it'll be smoother. So if it frustrates you to cut in and out, again, like if I weren't the one behind the broadcast right now, because I send myself loud and clear on my screen, but if I were the one on your end and were cutting in and out, I would want to come back later. So you have my permission to do that, okay? You got to do what is right for you. But go ahead and type your questions in. I'm going to stick around for a little while and see what comes up, where I can support you all. I've been on an incredible adventure recently into Mount Shasta, and maybe that's why the broadcast is cutting in and out. I'm still, like, I haven't been super alive here on social media. My students and my clients are getting freaking bombarded by this energy. And I found that it's required a lot of spaciousness for me to really integrate all that I've experienced there. And so I haven't been as present here on social media. And maybe my field is still a bit strong, and enjoying the heightened frequency. All right, so Tanya, I see your question coming in asking about, do I notice a shift in you? Do you see a huge shift since we first met? Are you talking about in you specifically? I will let you know that, like, I totally saw that. I grinned, like part of me opened up when I read that. My third eye started flashing and buzzing. And I've got a lot of activity going on in my physical body right now that I'm aware of. So yes, I do. And my body is responding to that also. Lots in the head area. So I'm going to inquire if there's like visual aspects opening up for you. In any way that clairvoyance, clairvision, maybe your vision is getting bigger, maybe your vision is shifting and changing, maybe you're seeing in the peripheral more, maybe dream time is activated. When we talk about like the clairvoyance opening up, it can present in many different ways, depending on what's alive in your field for you to learn at that time. All right, Haley says, open to receive whatever that means for you. Love seeing you, been a while. Definitely feeling a lot. Open to receive whatever that means to you. Haley, did you ask me a question, or did you mean my silly sorority girl mode that I went into? All right, so here, just like as I hold a little spaciousness for that, Haley, just a couple ideas pop in for how this information presents and why it happens the way that it does. So, couple things. First of all, maybe that level of silliness and playfulness and connection and well, there are two sides to the sorority girl, right? We're talking polarity and how when we incarnate here on the planet, we are choosing to experience ourselves as separate from divinity or the God energy. And one of the ways that we move back into that is by exploring ourselves through polarity. So here's how the polarity of that sorority girl construct would show up, is showing up for me now as I'm digging in a little bit more. The positive side could look like an invitation into more fun, more connection, more of that divine feminine support. I know it doesn't always happen that way, but I'm telling you the good side of it, okay? There's a lot of actual sorority, sisterly connection. It could also mean that this has come back alive for you recently, and this is a powerful activation point for you. It could also show up as maybe an area of your unique expertise, a type of community or a gap that other people are experiencing that you could really step in and fill that gap. Okay, so that would be the positive, and that's why it just came through as sorority girl. I'll let you interpret which one feels aligned for you. Could be one or many or a combination of. Here's the polar side or the flip side or the more negative side or the shadow side of what might be presenting for you, Haley, and that is maybe during that time of your life, or maybe during what would represent for you as a similar storyline, there might have been shadow energy or betrayal, or you feeling like you feeling like you're not fitting in, and that could be something that has not been fully dealt with because that shit hurts. So let me know if either one of those things resonate with you, Haley, as I'm tapping into your field there. And if it's cutting in and out and you want to come back later, answer later. You all get to be free in this space and answer whenever you damn well please, okay? All right, so Tracy Hoover said, supposed to be on the twin flame journey, but it's not happening. Is there another purpose in my records besides light holder for Mother Earth? Yeah, well, if you're asking, then there's incompletion in your understanding, dizziness, of what that fully means, or there's not, or there's like more, like what's more? What's more? Is there more? And the answer to that one is always yes. So there's either an incompletion in understanding the fullness and the value and the creative opportunity in being a light holder for Mother Earth. Tracy, I think there's also similar energy being invited forward around the twin flame. So just to expand and broaden the perspective around that. Recently, when I was in the temple, not the temple, but the pyramid, the secret pyramid in Mount Shasta, where goddess Isis does a lot of work. One of the things that I was asking her about, because this is how I feel about it, a little eye roll in there. All right, what's the deal with the twin flame energy? Like, I'm so eye rolly about it. Like, it's easier to encompass a sigh and an eye roll than it is to actually articulate. Trina, so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Aloha. All right, so I asked Goddess Isis about this, and here's what I felt came in. That yes, there's more perspective that could be understood around this idea of twin flame energy. What she was actually presenting for me is there's more like this old construct of you meet up with your twin flame and all of your energies just beautifully expand each other, and it's powerful and amazing, and you can take on everything on the planet. And this is the bit that your soul has been separated from. Again, and the guides are even saying right now, just don't feel like you have to take a stance on how you feel about it one way or the other. Just see how this story invites us to experience that bigger storyline of coming into this planet to experience separateness. So I promised you activations when I said, hey, do you want to come live? Akashic Answers with Emily. We'll do some activations. We haven't done any yet, so let's do some now. Sit up nice and straight. I want you to begin to breathe and follow your breath inward. And let the breath bring you on a journey, invite you to leave behind whatever is alive in your mind, your field right now. And just invite you into yourself, into a state of presence. And get really calm and quiet with yourself. Might need a few more breaths just to alchemize. Again, let the breath bring you into the present moment, arriving effortlessly. Nice fluid breath. Close your eyes if you haven't already. And see if you can notice the aspects of yourself that are whole, that are complete. See if you can notice the part of you that is completely sourced and resourced from within. See if you can notice the part of you that no one can threaten, that no one can injure, that no one can humiliate. Oh, that's a big one. I'm not sure who that's coming in for. We're clearing some deep wounding around that. Just inviting in radical self-acceptance. Breathe. I want you to belly breathe, meaning when you breathe in, expand the belly. When you breathe out, pull the belly back towards the spine. As the belly comes back towards the spine, you're going to notice the slightest bit of pressure. I want you to just pause into that, sit into that, rest into that for a moment. And when you feel like you need to breathe again, take a breath. But if you can hold it, practice holding that deep breath in, belly out, and then as you exhale, pulling the belly back. See that bit of tension as the belly comes back and compresses the slightest bit against the base of the spine. There's an activation there. What begins to happen is we put the slightest bit of piezoelectric energy pressure, slightest bit of friction. Friction creates piezoelectric energy. It means that energy is moving up the spine and activating the crystals inside the brain. Very good. Okay, take a few more deep breaths. Close the eyes, turn the awareness back inward, and do the exercise again, the guides say. And see if you can notice the part of yourself that has never been separate and always remains completely whole. And see if you can just be present with that part of yourself. And now notice where, I forgot to tell you, don't do this if you're driving. I hope you didn't do that if you're driving. But wherever you're sitting, standing, whatever's supporting your being right now, see if you can notice the energy of that object and see if you can find a state of oneness with it. So just melting yourself into the chair, the floor, wherever you are. Good. And from this state of unity, if there's any aspect of yourself, we talked about some shadow energy, any aspect of yourself that you have disowned because that part of you was hurt, frustrated, angry, betrayed, and you didn't know how to respond. See if you can bring that part of yourself back into a state of wholeness right now. If you need to bring relaxation to any part of your body, do that, because what we're really doing here is we're accessing the records through our body, and we're doing the work through our body, which is really cool. Those of you guys who have been here for a while, I think what we've just experienced and what you've experienced today is a little new even to how we've worked in this space. It's a more embodied way, and the guides are all present here with us now. When I ding that bell and call the guides in the beginning, they're here, they're showing up for each one of you to bring through what is next, what's going to support you. So thank you. We got high-level masters in the house today. I can feel you all. But what I see happening globally for all of us, what we're experiencing is, with this higher level of vision that we're being called into, with this next wave of stepping into our bigness, no longer playing small, you're not allowed to play small. It really requires the body being able to hold the energy frequency. It requires you being able to fully see yourself as not only the main character, the hero or heroine of your own vision, but it also requires you to see yourself as part of the bigger story and the bigger picture that's playing out here on our planet. And we've done a pretty good job of letting that be on the fringe of what we're imagining experiencing, but we're being called into a higher state of embodiment of it right now. And so doing this work within our bodies, what I'm hearing from the guides is it's doing a lot of things. It's turning on the human's ability to access intelligence directly through the body. There are a lot of modalities that already do this, by the way. I definitely don't want to claim that the Akashic Records is taking responsibility for doing that in this moment. They're just illuminating how this is, I'm going to use the word trend, but I want to invite you to receive that in a good way, because trends mean that the energy's landing, it's serving, it's fulfilling, it's making us feel good, we're liking it. So there's trend to do like this body work, whether it's body talk or simply like massage work, really, getting massages. It's super important because a relaxed body cannot hold the higher frequencies of energy. And you'll either short circuit or you'll up level gaps. And we don't want either one of those things. So this is really a new way of doing the work, is doing it so directly in our body. So just, first of all, thank you all for that. That was cool. This is also going to build your energetic skills to embody your vision at a higher frequency and a more multidimensional frequency, I heard. This is making sense. If this is making sense, give me some love likes hearts across the screen. And if this is serving you today, I'm going to stay on for a couple more questions. I'm going to scroll back up. So those of you who ask questions, thank you. I want to honor you in this space. So I'm going to stay longer and answer some more questions. So since we're going to stay together for a bit longer, if this is resonating with you, take a moment and share this out. Because the more people that we have receiving here together in this space, the more people who are willing to explore what it's like to expand their consciousness, to see things differently, to take in this cosmic wisdom and just see how it resonates and what it enlivens in your field. The more of us that wake up, and the more we have the potential to strengthen each other in terms of access to universal medicines and earthly medicines, energy medicines that we haven't tapped into, technology, paradigms, ways of constructing our society. All right. Okay, so I'm going to scroll back up here and grab a couple more questions. Karit says, is body jolting and alien speech be a sign of vibrational growth? Oh yeah, definitely. My third eye just went for you, Karit. All right, let's do a little third eye activation here. Would you rub your hands together? Create a little friction. Holding them at the heart. I want you to take your thumbs together, holding them at the heart space. Karit. Okay. Here's what's coming in for me, Karit. We got to ask your permission for this, though. All right. I don't know if Karit is still here. Karit, if you're here, here's what just dropped into my field, and I was like, oh, wow, that's intense. So we better ask you if you want this or not. Okay. I would, if you, I'm just trying to say, like, how do I phrase this without sounding pushy or crazy? I just got to let both of those things go. Okay. And of course, I didn't explain this. Karitha, I guess I'm here. Cool. If you're resonating with this or the answers to any questions, even if you're not Karitha or anybody else who I've specifically addressed, it's for you. Okay. This is interesting. Thank you, Karitha. I haven't really... You guys are like, what? Come on, you're so building it up. I am. Okay, here's what I heard drop in, and then a lot of pieces have extrapolated since then. So we're definitely opening up in our ability to perceive ourselves as part of the bigger picture, the bigger story, which includes seeing ourselves in our galactic ancestry, which is going to mean more and more of us are going to begin having alien encounters, extra, let's call them extra dimensional ED, which could also include an interdimensional being, but not necessarily an off-planet species like an extraterrestrial, which would mean off-planet. We're beginning to open up our ability to understand and actually perceive. We're crossing over previous thresholds of where this could only exist in the imagination, and we're bringing it into more a tangible experience. It's really similar with the Akashic Records. It's like right now when we tap into the records, maybe if you're new to this, as you're in this space right now, you're in your records and you're getting information from your field, okay? When we first start doing this work, it's very impressionable. It's like playing with the imagination. Is that really what I see? Do I see what I think I see? I don't know. And then as more and more people come online and begin to embody, so fist bump to you for practicing that today, the more it's going to move from an impressionable state into a more physical form. And I'm also seeing evidence of that play out in my own personal experience, but also part of the unfolding the bigger picture of the Akashic Academy and why it's here, which is to develop and cultivate mastery in our light workers here on the planet to really uncover and unlock aspects of genius that the galaxy has never even seen before. Right? It's not even to save our asses here as humans because I don't know, I usually say the word, but I'm not going to say it because we've effed it up. It's not just about saving ourselves. It's about what we can further uncover for the galaxy. It's such an amazing time to be here. Yet our fields are very impressionable and very manipulable, very, very influenceable. We've got EMF, we've got, just like I could name a million different things that hold us in the matrix and negative construct, but we're opening up our ability to free ourselves from that, right? And along with that comes this expansion of being able to see ourselves in our quantum family. So we're going to be noticing moving from that fringe space of, oh, it's impressionable. There are movies about aliens. Oh, I had a dream about an alien. Some people have had alien ET contact, to having that more regularly. And Karith, what I just felt was like, hey, you want everybody to hold space for you to have a real experience? And if you do, then Karith, say yes. If you want to say no, you can too, by the way. But anybody else who wants that, say yes. And I'm going to invite that this happen for you under grace in a perfect way. Because here's one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of that kind of experience right now, is because if an ascended master show up in your house and you do not open a door and let him in, or an ET come down, your ass will be scared, okay? You just will. Most of you will. There might be a couple of you out there who are not. And if you're one of them, please hold the field. But I'll tell you, I've been talking, like I've had experiences. Here's the first way I began to have experiences. Okay? And so some of you are going to have your first experience right now, but it's weird because we're going to step outside of space and time, and you're not actually having it now. You're only having an awareness of it right now. It actually happened to you in the past, yet it's almost like your higher self agreed to assimilate it in the now moment so it wouldn't scare the F out of you. So for me, what it looked like is I began to open up my consciousness, and specifically when I was in my own process of learning how to read the Akashic Records, and I can't remember what specific aspect of myself I was asking for revelation or understanding, but I did like deep dissection of Emily Harrison and what the fuck was up with her in her life through the space of the Akashic Records. And I realized that when I was a child, I had experiences where I feel like there was likely ET, probably abduction involved that I don't necessarily remember. But what I do remember aligns to what I've understood and heard other people who have been brave enough to talk about their experiences say. And through my records, I began to put pieces together of my own starseed galactic ancestry, and understand enough that I needed to in that amount of time, because we could play and dissect in that arena for a long time. But I understood enough that I needed to move on at that point in time. And this is a really important aspect of how the records work, is they're going to reveal to you what you need to know at a certain period of time. And it doesn't mean that there's not going to be more that would potentially be revisited at some point. Okay? So my first encounter with an ET happened from an experience of observing my past memories and seeing them from a different perspective. Okay? So what I want to do right now is just hold that space and conduct that energy for you. So if anybody had a weird experience in the forest when you were a kid, I don't know what it was. Lights out your window. Just going to hold space right now that you begin to tap into that memory, that experience, for those of you who it's applicable for. And if it doesn't, if some of you, you'll have some memories that pop in immediately. Some of you, it might unfold over the next 24 hours. Don't judge yourself based on when the information becomes cerebrally accessible. Is that what you're saying? Cerebrally, that's not the quite word. Whenever the fuck you can unpack it and make sense of it, okay? Don't judge yourself around that, because you're all receiving for those of you who truly want to, you're receiving the downloads right now. And the revelation, the time that it takes to fully reveal itself to you will depend on how much fear you've cleared from your field and how much you're willing to clear. And I'm going to preach a little bit more about this fear, and then we're going to do the activation that you all said yes to, okay? Okay. So, speaking to the fear, first of all, free will is a part of, or I should say prime directive, free will is a part of this whole experience. And because we have free will as humans to experience our growth as we see fit right now on the planet, a revelation of aliens, ETs, ascended masters appearing before you. Maybe you're like my friend Lowell, who part of the Skull Squad, who had a physical experience into Telos. Like, not everybody everybody's light body and physical body is ready for an experience like that. Because what happens is it can trigger quite a bit of fear coming up. And if you're faced with a situation that brings out fear in you and you haven't fully processed, like through your own fear, it's like that handkerchief that you start pulling and it just keeps coming out, and it can tend to really unravel a person. Cool handkerchief unravel connection there. Thank you. I like it when you make sense like that. Sometimes they mix metaphors and you guys got to follow along and you're like, hang on a second, I'm a metaphor behind. That's at least the same metaphor. Okay, so you begin to unravel all of this fear. I've had what I would consider a huge up-level increase, maybe is a better word, increase in the amount of visceral encounters that I've had. I had one several months ago, and I shared with that, so I'm not going to take time to share about that one right now. But when I was in Mount Shasta recently, I had two experiences. Both that I really want to hit on for all of us to understand and dissect a little bit more. But it was interesting because the fear that came up and the amount of fear that came up was different with each experience. So the first encounter that I want to share with you was an encounter where I saw a fleet of ships, probably about 100 of them, flying in formation, coming up from behind the mountain. At first I thought they were bees. Like I'm sitting meditating in front of the mountain. And long story short is there was a particular cloud, and when you know it's not really even mythology. I don't know what to call it. When you know the energy signatures, the secret mystery behind Shasta and the energies that happen there, you know when you see one of these clouds that it's not just a normal cloud, that it is interaction. Right? And so I'm watching this cloud. The cloud doesn't move for an hour and a half. It's dancing all these amazing lights. It's changing shape. I'm like, you're showing off. And I'm tracking it this particular morning that I'm sitting in the amazing property that I was staying at right at the foot of Shasta. And I get this ping in my head. Okay, get your camera. Here it comes. And I hope you guys appreciate this. Sometimes it's hard to know if it's your higher self talking or if it's you because you sound similar or just the same. It sounded the same. It sounded like me. And so I told myself to go fuck off. I said, I've been filming all week. I've been filming this documentary. I've been having this intense personal experience that I'm still integrating. I just want to be present. And so I go plop back down where I'm tracking this experience. And here come a swarm of bees up over the back of the mountain, and here's the process that I go through. Oh, that's interesting, a swarm of bees. I remember that from the bee movie. Hang on a second, that's coming from behind the mountain. That perspective, not bees. Those got to be at least birds. Fuck, those are not birds. They're like 200 miles away. I'm like, those are ships. Those are fucking ships. My heart's boom, 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 boom. And I'm thinking, are those ships flying in formation? Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Why didn't I get my damn camera? Oh my God, are they going to come in here and pick me up? Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? Like, all of this is happening in nanoseconds. I talk about having these experiences, yet having an actual visceral, physical one that was this intense. Oh, geez. So they're warming me up to it. This is a little bit closer than the one I had a few months ago. Maybe not. They're different, the one I had a few months ago. But then sure enough, they come in flying formation. They line up vertically and boom, 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 drop into the mountain. Likely one of the reasons I haven't been so super present on social media is just because it doesn't matter that's 200 miles away. There's like a plasma, there's an intake that my body goes through. I think that I've cultivated enough of my own subtle energy and my own vibrational frequency. I see enough magic in my world on the microcosm. I see enough magic when I look into your fields and see the visions that are alive for you all. I've cultivated the ability to hold that level of sight and magic that I can see those things happening, but I still have areas of my being to cultivate, to strengthen, so that I can fully stand in a space of not being afraid, right? So then I had another encounter, and I want to tell you briefly about this one, and then we'll do the activation for you guys, okay? Where an interdimensional being began to communicate with me on my camera screen of my phone, which was completely black. And it was like a Tinkerbell light, fly across the screen, then fly across the screen this way. And then two of them would fly across the screen. What the? Again, tracked it for an hour and a half. I'm taking screenshots. I'm like, you know, my heart did get a little bit of racing. I didn't have fear coming in around that one, which is interesting because I feel like this can be part of the activation, but we need to act very, very mindfully in this. Okay? Because like I said before, our fields are manipulatable, we're impressionable. But these beings that came in did something to my frequency where I was curious over scared, and I didn't even think to be scared really until later. Kind of like, oh. Right? So but we're only doing this, calling in pure cosmic light, only beings of unconditional love or higher who are here and connected to your galactic mission of expansion, committed to the highest good of you and everyone connected to you. Only those beings. I'm just declaring and putting a decree on that right now. Because you see what we're doing here? You can ask for that support, but I want you to be really, really mindful. You're asking for support that is going to manipulate your energy field in a way. Now, you are completely sovereign and you have control over this. This is a powerful thing to do anyway, because as we declare this decree of our sovereignty and only allow ourselves to be influenced by these, and truly, we talk about cosmic beings, ETs, whatever it is, there's also a bigger picture of a story here that these are all different aspects, personalities, different reflections of you as the God, the divine, showing up to teach you about yourself so you can move back into unity. It's all you and your higher self at some point anyway. But expressing through these agreed upon storylines so that we can have a collective dream experience, really. So we can have like that dream experience of sharing the morphic field together. Man, we've got high level people in the house today because I have the energy to stay on here a long time, and you guys got high level shit coming in. Honestly, I feel a little bit weird about that conversation about the manipulation of your field. How's that landing for you guys? Is there like trigger coming up around it? How long did it take you to feel comfortable navigating and learning to read the records? Awesome question, Renee. Thank you. It's a process that if you stick with, and I stuck with, I went through the process of learning the guidelines. You guys are loving this? Okay, good. I'm glad this is landing for you. In a matter of 3 months. However, there is so much more cultivation of the experience that I've not only had since then, but I think like as everybody knows, it's cool because what it's weird. It's like, it's almost like you as you continue to grow and use the records, your understanding gets even more microcosmic. It gets bigger, it expands, but it's like the minutia, the cosmic mystery, the quantum aspect to which you understand yourself and all portions of life, that begins to grow. And that takes time and experience to do. And also, it takes environment. Like you think about science and moving down to the cellular structure. it takes environment. If you're not in the right environment to cultivate your growth, good fucking luck. But that's why you're here. That's why your soul has brought you into a place where you can be cultivated, you can be grown. I'm glad you guys are having fun in here today. It is a powerful space. I will be really honest with you though, and like, you know, this is we're only scratching the surface in terms of community to fully cultivate your growth in your experience. That requires deep dive into yourself, your skills, getting very committed to understanding and being very clear on what your vision is. You initiate into higher orders of support, galactic support for you to complete your mission when you work with me. It's not only learning how to tap the field of the Akashic Records, but it's for those who are ready to take on a fierce level of commitment to the great work that we're here doing on the planet. And that's even if you don't fully understand what it looks like right now. Like that quantum growth can happen really, really quickly. So for those of you who are feeling inspired to take a deeper look at what's possible for you in a sacred container in the Academy, please shoot me private messages. I do try to go back to all the comments here and connect with you all. But sometimes I miss them. And so if this is really important to you, you got to reach out. Okay. All right. So before we wrap up, one more round opportunity for yeses. We're doing like this. This is not for everybody. But for those of you who would like to call in an experience that you're ready for with an ET or ED creature being, again, these can be extraterrestrials, they can be interdimensional beings, they can be ascended masters, they can be angels. It might look like coming to you in your dream time. It might look like coming to you shadows out of the corner of your eye or sparkles or things. But again, I'm calling in for those of you who are saying yes. I want you to first of all understand and declare your sovereignty, your safety, your security. You are profoundly surrounded and grounded into cosmic light, into Mother Earth, into the Akash, divinely held in only things that are here to up-level the collective of the consciousness through grace, peace, ease, and love. We want to experience the magic without the fear. Okay? So first of all, recognize you're inviting it to show up in a way that is comfortable to you. You're inviting forward the ping in your mind that allows you to acknowledge it. Remember, it could be acknowledging it in the moment. It could be looking on the past, acknowledging it. Oh shit, that just happened to me. Those are two ways I've experienced it. It probably can happen other ways as well. Okay? And if you feel called to ask for assistance in this way because you feel solid in your sovereignty, you can ask for support in not engaging with your fear mind when these beings present themselves to you. Which makes me feel, like I said, a little weird, but y'all asked for it, okay? This is also going to begin to guard your field from where you manipulate yourself, where you manipulate other people, and where other people unknowingly manipulate you. And so it is. All right. Good work today, everyone. This has been a really beautiful time and space. I want to thank you all for spending it with me. I want to thank you for being committed to staying in your flow state and accessing higher levels of your creativity and your ingenuity. I want to thank you for being committed to continually to see areas where you can course correct and be responsible for your gifts as they up level. Like our gifts are getting to a place where they're really magical. Like our wands are super powerful. And so learning about our miscreations and taking full responsibility. And one aspect is taking responsibility for our time. And so I want to thank each one of you who have been responsible to your time, to the great work today, showing up, anchoring in this space. I love you all so much too. Thank you. If this has served you, again, shoot some love likes, hearts across the screen. I encourage you to share this if it's valuable. Share it out. And again, for those of you who want the deeper dive, you're welcome to reach out to me by sending me a personal message, and we can talk about where you're at on your journey and what would serve you best for your next round of expansion. Namaste, everybody.